Hello guys, welcome to our yam farm. Today we have something unique we are going to show you today, so we want you to listen, watch us carefully. This is about 5.5 months, almost 6 months since we planted this yam farm. And you know, previously I've talked about yam farming, the timing in yam farming, and we have been following those step-by-step things that were enumerated in that video. In that video, I'm going to remind us of the graph that I used to talk about the life cycle of yam, especially white yams. Now, it is about time to see if we should harvest our farm. Before we start harvesting, before we start milking, which is usually the first harvest, which is what I encourage for every yam farmer, whether you are a backyard farmer, yam farmer, or you are a commercial yam farmer. Milking is very key, harvesting so that you can get seed yams. But before that, it is important you know whether it is the right time to milk, so that you not milk immature yams and probably, run at a loss. It's still good you understand that. So what I want us to do today, or what I want to do for us today, is to see if these yams are ready to be milked. So I'm going to do a test harvest, and I encourage everybody to do that. For those who have been following me, I really appreciate it. Your feedbacks have been very, very encouraging. Sometimes I even see some people's yam farm far better than my own. They look far, far better, and I'm encouraged. It means I'm successful, so to speak, because if you can train people and they are even doing better than you, that's very, very key. So today we are going to look at this one. If you check, the colors are changing. The leaves are turning from that usual dark green to yellow. It means that senescence is about to set in or is starting. And again, if you look carefully, the beads, they are already drying out little by little. So before these leaves will completely dry out, it is important we milk so that we can get seed yams. This is what we are going to try and see today. So today is basically our test harvest. So let's go right into it. Guys, we are going to start with this. I just randomly picked this. But remember that I told you that you can also cut costs by planting, of course, your seed yams alongside your normal wire. This is the wire we are going to check today. We are not going to touch the seed yam now. We are not going to really touch the seed yam now. But I'm going to show you something about this seed yam later. There is a session I planted the seed yams before I did this, I think, or about the same time. But I'm not touching this one yet because this one is not really ready. But there's something you can still do to this seed yam. I'll show you later. It's towards the end of this video, so don't go away. So let's look at it wire. Please be careful not to touch this seed yam, because from all indications, it's not really ready for anything like that. Okay. So I decided to use this extra gloss. Okay, fine. This is the main tuber. Like I told us, you look for the head. We already know that. So I'm going to get my knife now to cut the neck. I'm leaving the root intact. Of course, we have a video on that already. You can always check that out. That's not the focus of this today. So, harvesting from hip can be tedious. So just try as much as possible. See. Let's see. There are signs that will show us if our tuber is mature enough. So that will give us indication as to harvesting the whole farm later. So you can see how I'm trying to carefully remove the soil all around it. And the pattern of white yams is that it grows directly down. So okay, fine. Been able to detach this. Let's see. Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is large. This is large. I'm sure this one will weigh close to 4 kg, if not more. All right, guys, this is our first test. I'll probably still choose another one again. Now, is it ready? See, this is the sign. So, if you check, you are expected to get a light yellow tip. And at the end of this tip, I'm going to use water to rinse it out to actually really see, but the first sign is this, is light yellow. If it is purely white, it's not ready at all. But this one is a mixture between white and yellow, but I'll still check this tip. There's supposed to be a brown stuff at the end to finally indicate that it has locked. It won't grow more than this again. So let's go and check. But I'll just quickly cover this up so that this head stump you are seeing is going to develop into a large seed yam later, because the leaves are still very green. So that's why I always like to do a test before I quickly do this. I want to err on the side of caution. I don't want this one to be immature, and I don't want to lose this. So it's striking a balance between both. All right, let's see. So I want to try a second one to see. Mind you, this is the small seed yam we planted by this side. I don't want to alter that one. This looks a little bit buried. Let's see. We're hoping that our yield comes out well. Haven't done all we can. The ground is still soft though, because it's still raining. Be careful not to go and bury your knife. Okay, let's see. Okay, now let me cut the head between the neck and the, okay. Okay, still down there. Let me see. Thought I could just remove it. Okay. All right. Okay. I think this one. Yeah. Whew. I like what I'm saying. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. Come closer so that you see. You can see that this tip, compared to the other one, this tip is light yellow and almost brown. And if you see the end point of the tip, let me remove it by a glove so that I can show you very well. See, it's already sealed, and you see some things that look like scar. See, it means that it has stopped moving down. The growth has really stopped. What is occurring now is basically maturity. And of course, if you pressing this place now, it's strong. So you can see that this tuber is already fully developed. If you leave it more, it will only just be getting more matured. The color will be changing to brown. It won't add to the size really. So this is the time for you to actually start milking. So this is about 5 weeks. 5 months, 3 weeks to 6 months. Let's just say approximately 6 months. Now, if by this time you discover that it is still white here, it means you should still leave it further, maybe for another 2 weeks. That's what I advocate. Just leave it for another 2 weeks, then you will milk. I don't play with my seed yams. Everybody that know me, they know that, because after this one now, if I sell this one, I'm going to have seed to plant. But if I leave it to just the vines fully get dried and all that, I'll still bring out a tuber that is not bigger than this. it will only just be all brown and well, in quote, matured. But this one is very matured too. So for me, this is what I advocate. So what we have done now is test harvest. So this one has given me an indication that I should go ahead and harvest the other ones or make my other farm. Now, mind you, it depends on when you planted. This farm is not all the yams that I planted at the same time. So I have my diary with the ones I planted at certain times. I calculate, because when I'm planting, I just put it 5 months, 2 weeks, or maximum 6 months from when I planted. I will just go and milk. You see that the leaves now, they are still very green. So I'm going to have very large seed yam from here. So I'm going to cover now. We have demonstrated this before. Sorry, I didn't have to use it. Demonstrated this before, how to do this milking. I'll put the video at the end of this so that you can watch further. It's not more than what we have just done here. So in another 2 months, 3 months max, I'll come back here and remove this one. But today what we did is not necessarily milking. It's a practice called test harvest for us to know when to start making the other. I only just did about 2 now that you have seen. One wasn't so matured, so this one is matured. So I can just start milking now because I've seen that this one is matured. But even if I leave for another 2 weeks to just give room for others that are the late, in quote, maturers, I will milk them. By then my leaf will still be green. It's no more than basically 6 months. So let's go to the other segment for the seed yam. What you have done now, you will still do it for seed yams, and it has its own advantage. Let's go there. A brown scar telling you that it's not going to grow more than this. So you can see that this is the seed yam section. I showed us this some months ago. Now if you check, almost the same thing is happening to the seed yam, like what you have happening to the way yam that we have just concluded. But let us also check. Now, these are some of, I use a trellis system for this, so there are very plenty here. Just this place, you can get up to about 100. But you carefully look around, okay? These are the vines. No, this another one. So this one is relatively exposed. So let's check this one. If you see that the leaves are already getting yellow, let's check this. Okay. Well, only this vine is even giving me like how many here? 1. Well, okay, the one, there's a small one here. From what I can see, this small one. Okay, I'll just leave that small one. But let me see if I can. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me cut this one and detach this other one. Careful. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to see if I can milk on this one. Always be careful with your knife. So sometimes you can just bury your knife and you not be able to find it again. So this, okay. All right. Wow. Yeah, it's ready. So this is seed yam. This one I can plant. See what is happening there? It's also happening here. The light yellow. The bottom has locked, so it won't be bigger than this anymore, and it's already matured. So we'll remove it. Then this one. So this is actually the way commercial yam farmers, they make a lot of money. So careful with this. So for me, every little thing, every little seed is important in my yam farm. So I don't take them for granted at all. Okay, you can see now. See this one. You see the brown tip. It's not really going to be more than this again. So see, this one is already a sizable one. And it one small stuff that I use to plant here that gave me this 1, 2. And I'm going to leave this one so that it will develop with this head. and the roots are still intact, I'll just bury it. Because why am I not removing this one? It's white, see, it's still white, so I can actually just leave it. The leaves are still green. It will produce a larger tuber. So guys, this is test harvesting. This place is ready for milking. So I'm going to face this place now and get all these ones out. With time, they are going to break dormancy and of course sprout. You use this to plant. If you measure this one, it will be giving you close to 250, 300 grams. Same thing with this. And that's just enough for planting. Next time I'll still come here, this same place, and get something out. What you are getting out may even be as big as this in terms of weight. It may not even be as big as this, even if it is not as big as this. Ordinary 50 gram, 60 gram is enough to plant. And you can use what is coming out of here, plant it again and get this. And you use this, plant this and get yam. So you can now see that if you do this cumulatively for some seasons, I'm sure you will not be looking for a job again. All right. Thank you so much for watching us and all your support so far. We are sure you have learned something. So let's do this together. Remember, harvest is on the way. We are still going to come back here and show some basic things about harvesting that you have not known before now. What will safeguard your tubers so that they will not get spoiled when you are storing. So there are a lot of our videos. There's a video on how to milk. I want you to watch this next video. Thanks and God bless.